Welcome everybody to the aDrop.ai official podcast. So glad to have you all here. This is being recorded live on Twitter Spaces, which is kind of exciting for me. I'm your host, Chef Dizzy, representing aDrop. With me on stage are Nocapmat from the MadRabbits Riot Club, a really incredible NFT community that's existed since the 2021 days. I still see them very often. I want to hear from him about the MadRabbits Riot Club and what it takes for a community to last, and hear about that from them. I also have here Gravy, aka OldGravy, from the Professor Degens community, a newer community that's sprung up in this last year, but one that's gaining momentum. And I think Gravy's going to have a lot of really interesting insights on, how to capture attention in people today. Also joining me on stage is Alex Fratley, our COO, Graham, artist and advisor, and Rashid, our CMO. And so, yeah, really glad to have everybody here today. No cap, I think I'm just going to start by diving right in. Can you tell me a little bit about the origins of the Mad Rabbit Riot Club? How did it start? How did that community start to shape? And what do you think kind of made it successful in the very beginning?
Yeah, going way back now. It's funny. I haven't really thought about it too much, and then you said that's what we were talking about today, and I was like, damn, it's been a while. Yeah, 2021 October of 2021 was when the mint first went live, and they sold out extremely quickly. It was like 12 minutes. Everything was minting like hotcakes at that time. Um, it was just like mid bull run of apes going crazy for the first time. It was just a wild environment. As far as how it started, I wasn't even on the team from the beginning. I was just somebody who was introduced to the project through like another project at the time. I don't even remember what it was. Long story short, though, the guys all met in a Discord in Nifty Gateway days. They were all art collectors, so they just kind of were like vibing around art collecting. Nifty Gateway was huge, and they wanted to make more of like a art focused, but still PFP collection, kind of in the same vein, but just with a lot of art roots and a lot of kind of respect with the roots of that kind of stuff, because we still feel like it's all kind of goes without being noticed a lot of the time. A lot of these people in our community now are still like huge art collectors that just aren't on like Twitter Spaces all the time, stuff like that. So it's a different community than most PFP collections because that's how it started. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why it gave us a long runway of just people who are dedicated to the space in general. So I mean, I don't really know what kind of specifics you want to get into, but that is like the main origin is basically art collectors in 2021 wanting to get a real foot in the PFP game, with the for the love of the game, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think it's really interesting how you started not on the team, but then joined the team later on as like a community manager. I think to me that's like it's a testament to the quality of the environment that you were in those early days. And so, yeah, I mean, can you tell me, I guess, more about, joining the team? I know it's been a long while, but joining the team, and then what kind of things you've done as the community manager for Mad Rabbit Riot Club to keep things, I guess, alive. There's a lot of PFP projects. Well, not a lot. There's few PFP projects that have really survived in number into the present era, 2024. But I still see rabbits all over the timeline, and I think, yeah, I think that's really powerful. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I didn't start on the team. Um, October was the launch, and I was just like very, very impressed with the whole rollout. They started with a bunch of like they had 10 artists that were doing one of ones for a charity auction the day before the launch of the PFP. So like I was just really feeling it, and I was like, these guys are doing it right. So I kept supporting them. And I was just like around the Discord all the time. And before I knew it, they were asking me to, help out just around Discord and stuff. And next thing I know, they're asking me to join the team as a community manager. So I was pretty hyped on that. And it just kind of came naturally. It was not something I was looking for. I wasn't working or looking to work for projects at the time. But yeah, I mean, it was a really natural progression. And then I kind of took it upon myself to just be like helpful. And then that's kind of the best thing you can do to get a job in this area, is just being helpful to people that you like genuinely appreciate, and they sometimes will show it back. And it's been the nicest group of people that I've ever met, specifically in this space, 100 times X. So like it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it was super organic. Everybody's been kind of embracing the fact of using the already like kind of hype slash art like mixture is very hard to do. So more so art and supporting artists within the community keeps the community alive and kind of serving those kinds of purposes. Although they're less hyped, it's a way to kind of really build like appreciation from the people that are in your community, because that's really all that matters. Like if you have people that support each other within the community, then it's not going to go anywhere. You can't, even if we just unplugged everything right now and just said, okay, MadRabbits is finished, like we wouldn't be able to do that, right? Like it's impossible. Just because of all the people that have gained relationships and friendships and whatever from this whole thing. So I think that's hugely important, is just support within, and then those people stick together regardless of what's happening.
I love that. It sounds like to me that you found some really authentic relationships, friendships even, right? In the Mad Rabbit Riot Club, and because those friendships are real, it means that they endure through things like time and the ups and downs, in the crypto market. And I love that. I'm going to come back to you again. I do want to hear more about the Mad Rabbit Riot Club, but Gravy, I was wondering if you might want to talk a little bit now about your community, the Professor Degens. I know you guys have sprung up a little bit more recently, but with a lot of kind of ferocity at the same time. What brought about your desire to create a community? What are you doing now to really keep things going? Yeah, I just love to hear generally about what you're doing.
Thanks, Chef. You can still hear me all right, right?
Oh, you sound so smooth, brother.
Awesome. So I have some successful and unsuccessful luck in building communities. I would say the first success was with Junkyard Dogs with you, Chef, and I think we would both admit that a lot of that was just the timing and the hype of the market at the time. And then after that, I've had a few, I wouldn't say failed experiences. They were semi-successful, but then to get them to continue on was a struggle, and people were their attention span was very short. Like if they minted and they wanted to flip, and then if they might play around for a week or two, but then they were on to the next thing. So we struggled there. And then I would say last year, about 18 months ago, I saw a group of marketers come together and then adopt a few tactics that worked really, really well. And so about 4 months ago, me and my good Web3 friend Manono started adopting some of those kind of principles, if you will. And the biggest, I would say, like the biggest two are one is transparency. So you got to share your playbook and tell people what you're doing. And when people understand what you're doing, then they understand their part in what you're doing and how they can benefit as well. And that's important because people need to stick around, and people are only going to stick around if they have something to gain from you. And that sounds pretty I don't know what the narcissistic or what the word is, but it's not a nice sounding thing, but it's the truth of the matter. So we realized that the only way to get people to stick around was to provide them with some sort of core value that they wanted to stick around to get. And that was the second piece, was the value. So the first one is transparency and the second one is value. And when you provide those two things, you start gaining a trust from your community that you can't really gather really any other way. So I really started focusing on that, and then social farming came, and I really grabbed that bull by the horns and curated a group of really dedicated farmers and people who really wanted to support each other in their endeavor of social farming. And then, as you guys know, that quickly the social farming cash tag has quickly died off, and it's on more to protocol farming, which is what aDrop specializes in. So I saw that whole shift, and then we had to adopt and adapt to what the market was demanding. And rather than like just losing our whole community, because we did lose a lot, we went from about like 40 to 400 in a couple of days. And then there was a couple like catalysts, like bad catalysts that happened that really stopped social farming. And we lost a big portion of our community, and we had to pivot and say like, what is our next step here? Because we can't just keep social farming; it's dead. So we had to adapt and see where the market took us. So thanks for letting me share that, Chef.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think it's telling you've had to navigate your own community through kind of an abrupt shift, but you've been able to maintain things together. What do you? Yeah, you talk a lot about providing value. Is there anything else you think that your community is doing that's special, that's kind of allowing it to maintain its identity, even though you're going through a transition based on the market and kind of the identity of the group?
Yeah, I would say just supporting each other and giving them a place where they can ask questions. So like me and Manono know a lot about marketing and a lot about growing your brand and a lot about just how to capture attention that everybody's trying to get your attention, and they want to monetize your attention. And we're figuring out and putting the pieces together of how that puzzle works and how we can return a lot of that value back to the community. And the community sees that, and the core community sees that, and they really keep the kind of the engine running because they're making money while learning at the same time. Because a lot of the social farm original community comes from like they don't know much other than they don't know how to like much about Web3. So we had to onboard a lot. We had to be supportive. We had to show them that onboarding to Blast Network really isn't that hard. If you're on MetaMask already, like going to Blast is a breeze, and just being there and hand holding them all like each step of the way and having success stories. So we have like someone who just is not like a savvy at all, and I'm not even going to say his or her gender, but they were like super just not savvy, and they were able to onboard, and now they're like one of the key community members in the space. And that story is just like a really good onboarding story for new people into our space. Like, hey, if I couldn't do it, you can do it. And so it's really powerful. And so to answer your question is just to provide a community that supports each other and really provides value to each other. Like that they know once someone else learns, they're so excited about it, they want to share it.
I love that. I love that answer. And thank you so much. Obviously, we at aDrop.ai, we're seeking to create a community of our own. We have an ultra powerful airdrop hunting and DeFi app that we're really proud to, showcase to the world. I think this tool will be incredibly helpful. And so I really value a lot both of your answers, Gravy and NoCap, as we, go forward and try to build our own thing. Yeah, I want to open the floor up to Alex, Graham, and Rashid. If any of you guys had anything to say based off of either of those guys, I saw your hand up, Alex, just now. We'll go Alex, NoCap, and then Graham or Rashid.
Yeah, sounds good. So really good insights. I just wanted to tap up No Cap and Gravy and see what do you think about all this platform proliferation, if you will? Like it's so many platforms, so many places you need to be. Telegram, Discord, X, Farcaster, because obviously it's hard to run community. And where is the place to be? Do you need to be everywhere? Do you focus on one over the other? I've seen a very distinct split, say, with Discord communities in the crypto space. Being America and the EU versus like Telegram networks, which is really heavy out in Southeast Asia and Dubai, places like that. And so yeah, just wondered what you guys think. Where is the place to be, and where should you be?
Great question. Great question. Nocap, do you want to make your comment and respond to that as well?
Yeah, actually, really good question. I just wanted to mention, I pinned a tweet up top. It's just because I don't want, there's a couple things I wanted to just clarify on. Because, like, number one, MadRabbits is a successful project in many respects, right? But I don't want anybody to think that I'm dreaming and I think it's Bored Apes or something, right? So, like, there's also a large difference in what community you're trying to create. Being like an art-based, more support-based, and then having all these things branch out into other brands and other activities is kind of what MadRabbits is done. And Vasia is a core community member, has been forever, and has been supporting like all these art galleries and art shows and stuff. And we've worked with them multiple years in New York and had these really great really great like we're the only PFP projects there in these art projects or in these art galleries and stuff. So like it's a really different thing too, and it really depends on what you're trying to do. Because like in Gravy's case, it's more of like a like farming, like kind of like degen, which I'm fully there, and half of me is there and half of me is here. So like I kind of get both sides of it, but like yeah, so it totally depends on what you're trying to create, and that has like a really big effect. It's not just like we just need a community. Like if you don't have a focused goal or a focused like overall vibe to it, it's never going to work, right? Whether it's for farming or whether it's for art, it doesn't matter. It has to be like, and you can have obviously sub goals and sub branches of things and whatever, but just kind of jack of all trades things are, I feel like, a big miss a lot of the time in communities. So that's just a side note. But as far as like platform wise, being that, like I said, MadRabbits is not massive. We don't have like thousands and thousands of people to deal with. So I don't, know on that kind of scale. But basically just Discord and Twitter are still kind of and it's shifted away from Discord slowly. Used to be basically only Discord and has now become mostly Twitter. And it's really just to keep people posted. Discord is, more of a resource manager, like things you may see on Twitter, you go check, you get all the links or whatever in Discord if you're not trying to click links in random places. So yeah, there's like advantages like that, but that's what it is, at least for our community.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Graham?
Hey, yeah. I'm actually going to kind of jump in straight to what Alex was asking because it kind of pertains a little bit to what I was going to say anyways. Like definitely one of the things you notice in crypto is that community is quite often the buzzword and the lofty goal that people are trying to achieve. And it's a tricky one to actually get there. I think there's a number of reasons for that, but if you look at traditional business, you have a product, you sell it, and there's an incentive to go and get the product. Either you need it in, like you need it in your kitchen maybe, or like you need a new thing for your living room, you need a new car, you have that incentive, you go buy it. There's no reason to have a community around those objects most of the time. The difference usually comes in sort of more communal based stuff. So, the obvious examples for me, I think, are things like sports and things like esports as well, online gaming. These are the kind of places where there is the initial incentive to go and get there. You want to have fun. You want to go and enjoy like your favorite sport. You want to go and be a spectator on your favorite team. But there's also the glue, and the glue is that communal aspect that keeps everyone together. And it's kind of an ephemeral idea. It's not really like you can't nail it down as any one particular thing. But to go to Alex's question about like spreading your resources out all over these different platforms, I think at least in early stages, that's kind of a bad idea. Like it's good to have outlets, like if you keep Telegram just as like a news bulletin, if you keep Twitter as just a news bulletin, and then you make Discord perhaps something where people can talk a bit more. But I would consider it to be the same as like, say you're a new young sports team. You have a central location where you're going to go and see those games, and community will build around those games over time because people are coming to the same space, they're making friends, maybe they're going for a drink together afterwards, and they're having fun. If you're spreading those games out over like 10 different pitches and no one really knows where to go, these people aren't meeting each other. They're not getting to chat. They're not getting to form bonds. They're not creating communal community aspects in their lives with each other. And I think that's the ephemeral task of this kind of stuff in crypto, is you have to have two things. You have to have the incentive to get people to come to you, but you have to also have that glue. And that's the hard part, I think.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I'm just recalling my own experience with Discord and Discord channels, being involved in, at first I was able to, make some really solid bonds in one or two spaces, but then as the amount of Discord servers I was in blossomed, I suddenly found myself not really able to make any conversation that mattered, because I was trying to be in too many places at once, which totally, diluted my experience and what I was able to get out of these things. So, that really tracks with me. Rashid, great. We've been waiting to hear from you.
Yeah, Thank you all for sharing your insights. I agree with Graham. Focus is key. So the best communities that I ever built were very singular and centered in one platform. By far, the biggest community I've ever built had 80,000 users in it, and it was on Facebook. It's a 3D printing community called 3D Printing for Warhammer 40K, the Fascist Free Zone. And every time we got between 40 and 60K Games Workshops lawyers come in and they destroy us, and they rug the entire space, delete everything, and it was up to me to rebuild that space for the fourth time now. But the third time we got to 80K, and it was really lively, and everybody was really happy, and everybody was enjoying it. And the big takeaway for me in rebuilding that 3 or 4 times was that the value, also that Gravy talked about, the value for everybody needs to be clear, no matter what their psychographic or persona is. They all need to have a certain reason to come back every week and share their content. So for the 3D printing crowd and the consumer level psychographic, it was really getting access to a lot of new Kickstarters, a lot of new patrons with cool models that they could print off, a lot of people sharing files that they tinkered and that they created in Blender, and that they were uploading for free. So that was their value in there. And then for the commercial people who were commercially minded, I would let them like, in stark contrast to the other 3D printing groups, I would let them just post several messages a week about their business. So where other people think that might spam the group with a lot of links and shit, other groups were not doing that. That actually caused, like, that was a flywheel for my group, because all of the creators came to me. All the creators gravitated to me, and that really became a magnet for all the other psychographics. And then I could go in there unnoticed by the masses, and totally not come off as spammy, just drop my affiliate links left and right. And yeah, for years I made thousands of euros of extra cash a month without doing anything, just having that group. But the last time we got hammered so hard, and now I'm rebuilding it again. It's at 13,000 people right now, and I'm just waiting. And a very, very big part of why it's a success is because over the last couple of years I've gathered a group of people who are really fanatic about Warhammer, who are really fanatic about 3D printing, and they keep coming back as mods. And we have like a core group of 5,000 people that we all invite first every time we get rugged. And those 5,000 people help us build out the group again and again and again, because these are the key movers in the group. So that has nothing to do with crypto, but it is fringe tech, because 3D printing is not mainstream yet, even though it looks like it sometimes. But it's still fringe tech, and especially it's super niched down, because who plays Warhammer, right? So it's comparable to, say, let's say a specific monkey coin on Solana, right? So it's comparable with the size of people who are interested in it. But keeping that community alive, that is sometimes difficult and challenging. But if you have the right magnets in place, it will grow, and it will grow. But it takes time. And often in crypto, people are on a budget. They have this set budget that needs to cover it all. And then time is not really a factor that people, or luxury that people can afford themselves. So once they start spending money, They expect that this amount of money needs to yield this result, and then sometimes they're disillusioned and then they stop trying or stop caring. And that's why you see a lot of crypto groups that have like 2,000 people in them, but nobody's talking. Or there's just nobody focusing on creating that intrinsic value that could be free if you gave it time. Yeah, Graham?
I actually love what you're pointing out there, and I've we've all seen it happen many times as well. I think there is a really strong relationship between the two things I was describing earlier, like incentive and glue, like what brings you there and what holds you there. If one is like percentage-wise way stronger than the other, let's say for example you're a crypto community and the incentive is 80% of the reason why people are there because they just want to make a quick buck, then that 20% glue that's kind of holding a few people together is not going to be strong enough. It's all about balance in that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think the core should be the magnet, like identifying which people want to carry the torch and then nurturing them. So later on, when I started working at bots.io, which is an automated wealth manager that uses AI bots to speculate on your behalf. You just give them your money, you sign it off, and then the AI bots go to market for you. We had lots of different types of customers. We had customers who get very upset if they lost 50 euros, and we had customers pushing a million in there, and those were super wonderful, and they understood like the dynamics of trading, and like there were all different types of psychographics. But I found that the people who needed attention in the beginning and were very bothersome could become the latter, right? They could become the people that didn't care, or the people that started promoting, or the people who pushed in more money. We also had a couple of customers who just had 2,000 on the app, and they were super angry that they lost, I don't know, 200 euros of it. But then we explained how it worked, and they came back and they pushed another 200k on there, and then they came to all of our events. And just I know that also, like, it's difficult in crypto to meet up with people, right? Because it's so global. People could be in Nigeria, people could be in I don't know, in Iran, for God knows America. Everybody is spread over the globe. So like if you do something that is just focused on 3 or 4 countries that are very close together, you can organize parties, you can organize dinners, you can have, like, I literally flew comedians in to have entertaining evenings and talk about investing, and I'd book economics teachers to do keynotes, and then we just all have dinner and have a good time. And then I build a sales funnel in the end, which would allow people to enroll into different financial products that we have designed. And then it was almost like voluntary shoehorning. There wasn't anything pushy about it. Like I could sell to that community and we could have fun together, all in the same breath. And that's also very special. But that comes with time, that comes with budget, that comes with attention, comes with personal nurture. And a lot of these crypto projects that I see out there, they have no idea of how to treat humans like humans. They treat humans like an engagement pool, which is very wrong, very wrong. It hurts me to see it. And like what I dream for aDrop is that in the beginning, okay, we don't have like 10 million euros to do a extremely cool party campaign all over Europe, right? Or all over the States. We don't have that. So in the beginning, it's going to be talking to people and asking them to talk back to us. And but what we need to do is just, I think, ask questions, be interested, listen, and grow ourselves based on the feedback that we get, and trying to incorporate that so people start recognizing themselves in what we do. And those that don't understand the use will slowly see the use because they're friends who do get it, right? So I think we just need to grow into the bigger community management tricks that are out there to optimize retention and loyalty. Like we have to start small, which is very difficult, very challenging and very rewarding if it works, but extremely difficult. It's like it keeps me awake at night.
I love that. Thank you so much, Rashid. You are an absolute wealth of information when it comes to this topic. I found a lot of that super insightful. Um, Something that I'm picking up from in a lot of the speakers is, kind of this journey from the moment somebody first encounters a group or community, and then they become a member of the community, and then they become a super fan of that community. And I'm curious if any of the speakers here have any insight or want to go on about that process, because I think the way that that happens is super powerful. And if you can, capture that essence, I mean, that's what every organization wants, right? To create, diehard members that really love, the vibes and the product and or the experience. And yeah, Graham, you already have your hand raised. I love that. So I'm going to go right to you. And yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'm just going to reiterate exactly what Rashid completely nailed, which is, he shared sort of a rough dismay for how crypto communities can sometimes treat people a bit like harvesting machines. Like we're in the Matrix, our energy is only useful for generating value. The answer to your question, I think, is really simple. It's humanness. It's being able to treat people like people, exactly what Rashid said. And there are so many ways to do that. In previous communities that I've tried to build in the past, that can be anything from just simply making friends to having little things that you nerd out over with each other. Just connection. It's really as simple as that. How you build connection into a product is a tougher question, I think, because not every product is designed to have a community around it. But they don't necessarily have to be one and the same. I think you can have a product and a community that don't necessarily do the same thing, but still have as much meaning. A good example might be Nike. The brand, like there's people who are Nike fanboys, or Ferrari. Both great examples. Brands that like you can still be a fanboy of these brands
But
without necessarily having to interact with them.
when I was in art college, Nike sent people over to help us. How do you call this? Sit upright, have a healthy posture at the desk, make sure that we walked around the school often. So Nike does do community building, but they do it very, very differently than most communities. Like they're almost invisible. They go to places where actual people are, and then they provide value there, and they don't want to catch it digitally. That's what Nike does. So that's why you don't see it.
I mean, it's human, right? They nail it again. They're speaking people to people. They're bringing that human touch to it. I think it's as simple as that, honestly.
Love that. Thank you, Graham. I want to welcome up Aaron V to the stage. Aaron, we are recording live for our aDrop.ai podcast. We are talking about community, what it takes, how to make it endure. Right now, we're talking about that transition from, first time encounter to super fan. Gravy has his hand up. I'm going to go to him first, and then we can jump right to you if you have some thoughts on that. Thank you for joining us again. Go ahead, Gravy.
Yep. Thanks, Chef. And I wanted to just mention or circle back on what Rashid said about just not using your community to just as kind of engagement or as a machine. And I think that's what I was doing wrong for a long time, was just like, oh, if what I build or what I'm doing here would just get in front of more eyes, then we'd be successful. Then the masses will come, then the crowd will come. And it took me a minute to realize that, like, you have to just do it. You have to start with nobody in your audience. You have to start with 1 to 2 people, and you provide value to them. You help them, right? And you build, you create a friend, you create trust, and then they tell somebody, and then you slowly start growing. And it might take a while to get that snowball rolling, but once you get up to like 30, 40 people, and then you can kickstart something and actually build something bigger. So I really wanted to emphasize that I rarely resonate with what Rashid said, and not treating your community as somebody as kind of like a machine that you just need to build bigger and stronger to get where you want to go, but really focus on and bringing this into what you said, Chef, like kind of the 3 levels of your community members. You have like your hardcore fans that they're like, they'll do whatever you say. You do something, they'll drain their bank
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
account for whatever you say. And then you have your typical fans where like they listen to what you say, they'll jump in your spaces, they'll check out what you have to say, and they'll trust you. And then you just have your people who are just kind of checking you out, seeing you from a distance. And when you start bringing people in and they're just in that third bucket, and you have a lot of people in that third bucket, you need to stop bringing people into that third bucket and focus on shifting them into the second bucket, which is fans and people who you have trust with. So it's a balance of like, you can't, like people say you can grow too fast. Like that's how you grow too fast, is you grow too fast and your community hasn't grown to the point where they trust you and they're your fan. They're just there. So I think that's like, to me, that's like the 3 levels. And like, you won't get most of the people to the top level that are just like your super fanboys, because most people
Yeah.
don't have time to be a super fanboy, you know?
Your community is best when the community doesn't even need you to be the star of it.
That's right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
So I don't need fanboys. I need people who share values, like each other enough to come back and want to seek interaction with each other. It's not about me. It's not the Rashid show. It's not the aDrop show. It's about like the same thing that keeps a lot of the people that come to our spaces coming back is because like we create a room here that's comfortable for people to speak in, share their opinion, and it shouldn't be about me or something. I see Nocap and Graham want to speak too, so I'll shut up.
Yeah. And if I could just respond to that really quick, you'll see that in our community, like our leaders are very, like me and Monona, we're not there very much. We don't have time to sit around and chat. But our community has just been so strong and they're supporting each other. And that's why we're still chugging months and months later from social farming, right? Like we're nothing to do with that anymore. But we've circled around and now our community is so strong that they support each other without our leaders there telling them to support each other.
Love that. Does somebody want to jump in?
Does Aaron V want to speak first before I say anything?
Hey, we're on a roll. You can throw to me anytime if you got
I was
something great.
going to say, actually, I wanted to jump out in front of Aaron because I know Aaron and he's a perfect person to talk about this kind of stuff, which is a great writer and has been building an audience here for a long time. So, what's up, man?
Thanks, Nocap. Yeah, MadRabbits had no idea, and I'm pulling up. So great community. You guys have definitely proven that you walk with the ethos that you say, and that's what matters, right? Everything we're talking about goes back to value and purpose, and that that mission is so important, right? No matter how they stumbled into the community, whether it was through an NFT drop art or they liked somebody and followed somebody in there, or like the token name, whatever it was. And you guys already talked about the different layers and types of community members, but if the mission isn't there, it's no different than anything else. It's just it's just a thing that's kind of a blob, and so defining the purpose of why this room exists. It is a safe space. It is a place to commune, but at the same time, there is a purpose. It's a place to learn, to interact, and so if you find that mission, then you can easily start to figure out your flywheels and value props and empower those that really want to be a part of that community. And yeah, everything everybody said earlier is just spot on. And it does take the village, right? Who said it earlier? Gravy. Like, yeah, you can be that one man army. And a lot of times, I think community leaders feel that way, that they're the only one banging the drum. But quit banging the drum for a minute. See who else is thinking
Yeah.
about banging the drum. There might be
Stop
people
talking
waiting.
and hit like, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I think MadRabbits, you guys have definitely taken great strides to not fizzle out, to not say we're out here just trying to fizzle and pump and dump kind of thing. Like, again, what's the vision, the mission? And it's no different than starting a company, which is, of course, my background. Like, you know what you want to do, you know who you are as a community, and even if that's one person, that's the community. Go bang that drum. Go promote the value prop, promote the mission, and then all the things that you're doing. Just call them initiatives and let people pick and choose how they want to be a part of that
Yeah.
initiative. Yeah. So
And the
amazing.
psychographics will sort themselves out to the initiative that are
Sure.
most attractive to them.
Absolutely.
Yo, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Aaron. That was awesome. Real quick, while I have you, while you have the microphone, do you want to tell me a little bit about your community, or what you've been building in the space? I mean, NoCap seems to think really highly of you. This is my first time meeting you, although we might have met on
No,
Farcaster a while
yeah,
ago. If
you
you're the
met him on
same guy.
Farhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Awesome. Yeah, you are a stand-up guy. Yeah. Do you want to say a little bit about what you're up to in these parts?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm rarely here because I have been trying to build on Farcaster. I do think that that's got
Fuck the
some
bird
legs,
app. Fuck
right?
the bird app.
Exactly. Uh, no, I've got a lot of initiatives going over there. Built just trying to reach. We've got a circus, is what we're calling it right now. We're trying to create as many pathways to onboard people. I just look at it as a creator. I've been trying to go back from square one as a writer and as a entrepreneur and as a solo anything. Just we're all kind of starting from scratch in this new social first world, and so my focus has been on how do I apply what I know? And if I'm a power user, if I'm still struggling, then it's things then the people who just are trying to get involved need to know. So it's more around education, landing zones, safe spaces, what we all need. It's just more of the same. But when somebody shows up and says, I don't know what to do, it's like, okay, well, read this, maybe it'll help you. I've kind of cut my teeth on this. I failed here. I've seen some success here. Because ultimately, if you are trying to start from ground zero with a community, it's daunting and there's too much. Between the things that are Web 2 and Web 3, Discord, X, Farcaster, Telegram, and then all the other things before you even start talking about the human element. So trying to put some perspective on that so people don't feel completely put off and run away. And then helping them build their own. So that's we've got a number of groups that we're trying to bring to the table, to try and launch inside aDrop, because I think it's got a very simplistic tool set. I think the UX is easy for everyone. You guys put people first and not your token and all this stuff. So if Rabbits is on board, I'd love to have rabbit challenges in there too. I think that would be just continue to expand the tent here. But yeah, anything I can do to help you guys spread the narrative. I need to get on a call with you guys just to cover some other random things. But yeah, just pushing ease of use, because we're getting to the point where devs have started to build out things that we can actually use in this space. And how do you actually make that work without spinning your wheels?
Love that. Appreciate that so much, Aaron. We'll definitely follow up with you. Always great talking to you. Graham, I want to go to you, but real quick. Sorry, no, go to you first, and then I'll do a little segue.
Cool. I'll try and keep it quick so that you can have your segue. Like, it's been kind of roughly touched upon a little bit over all of these points that everyone has made, and to get a tiny bit hippie on this, it sometimes feels like the universe speaks in some ways. So the CEO of this company, aDrop, Thomas, DeFi Seer, if you know him on Twitter, like, I've known him for a long time, and we have this little thing we do every now and again, which is where we share nice wine and we share like random philosophy books that we've been interested in recently. And the one that he shared with me literally this week has pertained so much to this conversation. And I think it's the last point that I want to add in terms of community building. It's about being able to switch. So we talked about humanness before, and we talked about like sort of creating those personal webs between people and making it so that there's like a glue between people that holds them beyond just the incentive. This philosophy also talks about this a lot, and it talks about switching your mind away from self egocentricity to sort of community thinking. For me, the perfect example is I work in the wine industry. You go to wine fairs a lot of the time. It's immediately obvious to me when someone's coming over to me to talk and they've got something that they want to talk about that benefits them. They have no interest in being your friend. They just maybe potentially want to sell you a wine. Maybe they want to like do like an Instagram call together, like an Insta Live or something like that. And you know, you can sort of subconsciously tell that there's a level of fakeness there, even if their patter, even if their talk with you is super, like, it feels sincere. You just sort of know. And then on the other hand, you can always tell when people are coming over you to talk, and they're just there to talk. They're just there to make friends. And through the process of making friends, maybe business happens. And there's like such a massive canyon between those two positions, and it's really a felt experience. And I think you feel that in crypto a lot as well.
Exactly.
The amount of time where I felt that companies were egocentric, like I wasn't there because they just wanted to know me or have me in their community. They wanted me there because I had some intrinsic value that they was trying to capture, and that was their end goal. So yeah, I think community building, it's also about letting go of your ego a bit, being a community-oriented person, giving up your space, giving up your time, giving up your education, giving up your friendliness, and maybe something good comes of that, but it's not the point of it.
When I was in my early 20s, I worked for this startup that listed homes for sale on the internet, kind of like a Zillow, but a Dutch version of it. And it was my task to sell ad space on those sites for like plumbers, for window fitters, for all kinds of handymen, and they wanted me to just sit there and cold call people and make sure that they bought ad space, which was totally abstract to them because in that like in the late 90s, early 2000s. No, it was early 2000s. In the early 2000s, that was abstract to a lot of these handymen. They weren't really online that much. So what I did is I went to, I didn't show up at work. I went to these conventions where these people come and talk about the best prices for, I don't know, stucco, or the best prices for PVC piping. And I was just there walking the grounds with a notebook, taking down email addresses and doing all of these things. And then like after 5 or 6 days, they said, "Hey, why aren't you here cold selling on the telephone?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm building a base of people that actually care, that want to spend money with us, be friendly with them." And they didn't appreciate that. So they said, "Well, you need to be sitting in your chair here 8 hours a day and need to start calling people." So I did just that, and it didn't yield that much. But in the background, I just continued to email all of the people that I had experiences with on the fair. And then in the last month that I before I decided to leave, I closed a couple. I closed more than everybody else had closed in the previous 2-3 months. And then they were, "Hey, why are you leaving? You're doing so well." Yeah, well, you don't respect my way of working and friendship first style. And I can't make it happen here. You want me to do mind-numbing work because that's your perspective on how to grow. Uh, yeah, and I never, from that moment, ever worked again for a company that doesn't let me do exactly what I want to do in order to get where I think the company needs to go. Because I think it's very toxic to just go sales, 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 sales. Yeah. Well, stop pitching, right? Just start listening, and then if you hear it in, play on it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a great perspective. I have made so many friends in this space, and my best opportunities have come from just natural friendships I've had uh, through regular conversation. So we've been going for about 50 minutes here. I want to take this opportunity to just talk about aDrop.ai a little bit before we keep going. Thank you for joining us. We are aDrop.ai, a cutting edge DeFi and airdrop hunting platform. We make airdrop hunting easy by automating and aggregating many different opportunities in one easy to use platform. Our public beta will be going live, I believe, towards the end of this month, which is super exciting. So far, only the alpha has been available, which has been getting rave responses from our users. I think that's still available to be tried out at demo.aDrop.ai. But I'm super excited to unveil, the latest features and the UI UX update. It's very cool stuff, and yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us so far. I
I
wanted
don't want,
to, yeah, go
I
ahead,
don't want to
Rashid.
I don't want to toot our own horn, but the beta looks so much more. It just looks like candy compared to the demo. So yeah, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely,
Like I'm stunned
absolutely.
at what Radu and Vlad and Dylan have made, and Stacy. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the
Yeah, and
alpha
of course
gives me
Alex.
real Netscape Navigator vibes. Yeah, go ahead, Rashid.
Yeah, Alex needs a couple of feathers too. Alex is a genius.
Oh, without a doubt. Where would we be without our good friend Alex over here? All right, I want to ask a little. I guess it's kind of provocative. I'm not trying to be JoJo Siwa provocative, but just curious. Do you think that communities are the future? This is an open question to everybody here. Are communities the future, or will individualism win out? In the consumer space. I have this question specifically directed towards the crypto markets and Web3 environment in general. Sometimes this feels like a very PvP space, dog eat dog world, and I feel like people in general are becoming a little bit more wary of joining communities or making friends. I don't know, it could just be my personal impression as Chef Dizzy. But yeah, that's my question to the panel today. Are communities still the future, or will individualism win out? What do you think? Open floor.
Yeah. Okay. There was a brief pause. I will fill the pause. My heart will always say community. There's definitely some wishful thinking going on in there. I'm definitely someone who is very community oriented in general, even outside of crypto. I much prefer the idea of living in amongst a group of people that support and welcome and love each other, as opposed to just carving my own path like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's interesting that it does feel sometimes like the structures that are being put in place in this world are almost being designed exclusively to drive people apart, and that upsets me. I can't deny that. But I also do believe very strongly in the power of biological evolutionary instinct. Like, for millions and millions and millions of years, whatever we started off as, whether we was just like little like mousy creatures or fish or whatever, all the way up till now, a big part of our evolution has been that we're social mammals. We have relied on each other for support. We've relied on each other for surviving. And you can't just erase millions of years of biological programming. I think no matter what happens, people will always find their most sincere happiness in the arms of others, which makes me think community will win out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think that I think like anything, it's always going to be a slow transition for something like communities to just rule the world, if you will. With social media now, it's a lot of connecting people that already know each other in real life. But I think with like the under 30s, a lot of that's already changed, where that's how they connect with people. And yeah, they might have met them in real life at one point, but that's how their primary communication is with them is digitally. And I think that's the shift that's slowly just going to take over is these micro communities that are based on some sort of social media. So I don't think it's going to be like 6 months from now or even like next year, but I think in like 5-10 years from now, we will see a lot of more social platform type communities like Discord being more popular, and Twitter and group chats and things like that.
Yeah, I think I agree for the most part. It's like no matter what people congregate around, like whether it's small or big, it's always like sub community. Like if you're into sneakers, you can find Reddit for days. It doesn't matter what it. So like, there's always going to be that backbone, um, of just whether it's small or big. But I think, yeah, like you said, the micro communities are kind of building within in crypto right now, and it's kind of a mess. But I think the more you zoom out, the more it becomes a little bit less and less of a mess. And like then if you keep going, you look at things like metaverse style things that even like a GTA 6 situation, that's gonna play a big role in things going forward too.
I
So
think that's the future. If you look at Fortnite, how deeply the bonds are people make on there, right? Right. Yeah. Metaverse is the future, I still believe.
yeah, I mean, way before crypto, you could get into video games and guilds and group chats and Discord. I mean, that's what Discord was created for. Like,
Yeah.
so it's going to always be an essential piece. It's just what does that look like as we move forward is I guess the bigger question, harder to answer.
Discord is just basically IRC but reskinned, to be honest.
I used to love IRC. Go ahead, Aaron. You've had your hand raised.
Oh, wow. Everybody touched on so many points that I agree with. Look, as a futurist and theorist and analyst, somebody thinks I wrote a book last year on this topic about crossing humanity to digital. Like we are so close, except we're so far away. Like I don't know the timeline. Gravy's right. Who knows? And in crypto, we all, if we see something early, we're so left. Right now, we're so left. And Nocap said micro communities, and that is something that we're seeing, especially in Farcaster, where this new ecosystem lets people not only just congregate, but also create that actual micro economy, not micro community. So now you can rally behind a community token and then sell your art if you're an artist under that token to show support, and then do this and that. And the abilities that we're now seeing come into play takes community to a whole different bond. And as we continue to put ourselves out there, which is what's required, we'll continue to embrace chat. We're going to continue to embrace, the human touch. And as long as communities stay human first and social first, that mission, the mission is important, like I said, but it's still human, and somebody will identify with what you're doing. And as we just continue to make ourselves more connected, which we have no clue how that's going to shake out. At some point we're going to run into this dumb terminal only lets us connect and share ourselves so much. It's still a mirror of what we're trying to present. That when we figure out how to cross over, it's just the next thing. So we're so left, but I think the next iteration is micro communities embracing micro economies, and then unionizing those communities together, and it's a whole new world that we thought we knew, being here in spaces in 21 that we had seen Valhalla or whatever, but no, I think there's this whole new opportunity to run really fast with new ways to. It's not just incentivize, right? It's just to connect. And the ones that are looking for incentives are going to do their own thing, but the ones that want to connect will use these platforms to really connect, and that's so exciting. It's so
Yeah, I
exciting.
agree. You guys know how like when a new generation PlayStation is released, it takes a while before game developers understand what the thing can do, right? And it's always the end of life cycle games that are the best. It's always like that, and I feel that with like Warpcast, Farcaster, with Aaron mentioning these micro economies all spawning up, this is like the first generation of people trying to find out what you can do on a platform like Farcaster, and they're using literally their HTML5 skills and a free Nanar Studio, or like they're using these crap ass tools that look so like internet in 1992. They're making fucking communities that work. They're making economies that kind of work. They're still heavily flawed. Like today I tried to claim the ham airdrop, and even though I have tens of thousands of ham tips, my wallet doesn't is not eligible to claim it. So yeah, cool micro economy. But the community is carrying it. They're behind it, and a lot of people are getting paid today. So I love that. No hate. It's just not working for me. So what I think we with these economies, and I see it happen in every channel on Warpcast. There's like masks now. There's FOMO. There's I don't know God how many tipping coins that are are being given away for free. People are making tens of thousands of dollars on this, and it's dawning on them that micro communities and micro economies are the way forward, that everybody like in the future gets to decide what their coin of choice is. And hey, if it doesn't interface with another coin, hey, you're fucked, right? But that comes with the territory of experimenting. But it's fun that they all like normally the first step when a new technology arises is how can I fuck it, how can I have sex with this, and that's not happening with these nerds. So I think I don't know. They're trying. Their only mindset is how can I get paid. So that's not moving the same way as society as a whole. So to say, oh well, the how do you call it? Our biological hard coding will prevail. I don't know if that's for this niche, if that's a truth or not, because it's always sex. then war, then money. And now it's just money first, money first. These people don't even like they they just care about their wallet. They're not here to flirt.
Oh, interesting perspective, Rashid. Appreciate that. Was not expecting the conversation to go in that direction, but 100% valid. If you take a realistic look at, human tendencies and technological process, I really cannot argue with you there. I want to welcome to the stage Ultralight Beams. Speaking of core community members and a really solid, person to the aDrop.ai community. She just joined us on stage. We are recording live for the podcast Ultralight, just in case you didn't realize that. I saw your hand raised up. Welcome. Really glad you could join us today, especially since we're speaking about community. Thanks for being here.
Hey guys. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Honestly, I appreciate the community that you guys have created because it's like I don't know where everybody's from, but there used to be this TV show back in the day called Cheers, and like the whole thing was like the theme song was like about everybody knowing your name or knowing, like there's people who you can talk to and you can share the things with. And so that's what this is because I'm like, ooh, they're going to be here. Like it's almost like you know where your friends are going to be to talk about the things you want to talk about at these times. So if you show up, you know what you're going to get. And I think that coupled with what COVID taught us, right? COVID taught us that we have an innate desire to connect and to be in community with one another, and we just need the platform or what the next platform is to do it. So TikTok saw the boom that it saw because COVID just had everybody stuck in the house, Zoom, things like that. So I feel like it's the same thing with this, and I'm all here for the micro communities. I think if anything, we're moving away from like the larger communities and gravitating heavily toward the micro communities simply because everyone is unique and they want to know that they're sharing an experience with people who just get it, right? And I think that that's what this is, especially when it comes to crypto, because like where I am, I when I hear somebody even mention crypto, because it's so few and far between, I get so excited that I tumble down the rabbit hole with them, and that could be a one person in a room of 50. So I think when you know where you can go to have your space, even on Farcaster. So because of you guys, like I'm checking it out and I'm in there and I'm commenting and engaging and just figuring out how to work it just because I see groups that I want to be a part of because of connections that we clearly all have despite, our differences. So I'm here for the community stuff. I don't think it's going away. I think if anything, it'll get more niche. And you'll just know where to find your people. And that's always a great thing.
I love that take. I really do. That really makes me almost cry. That's really emotional. Thank you for coming here, sharing that. And if you want to get like a more of a footing on Farcaster, just talk to me and Aaron more, and then we'll show you the good spots, right, Aaron?
100%.
I
Thanks.
think that's uh, I think that's really powerful, Ultralight. It's been pointed out to me that human history has existed for an incredibly long time, and there are so many human beings on the planet that even though many times it feels like maybe we're the only person experiencing something or the only person interested in something, it turns out that there are others out there who share that in common with you, if you're able to find them and connect. And I think that's one of the powerful things about the internet, Web 3, Web 2, whatever you want to call it, is that it's given us the opportunity to find each other, connect with each other, and bond. And now things like geographical distance, barriers that used to be in place before, they aren't there anymore. And so, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been really amazing,
It
being
also
a
kind
part
of
of that.
to me, like somebody mentioned guilds earlier, like gaming guilds. Like I do have a feeling that since I have been 17 and the internet popped up, we're constantly trying to reinvent the same thing, and it's always the undertone is fighting. I think loneliness. So that's where the whole community thing comes from, right? Whether it's a World of Warcraft guild on the Chinese beta before the game goes public, right? Or whether it's Utopia or Tribal Wars, all these games they have communities and all these people are seeking each other, and I don't think that Web3 is different. So I think there's a lot to learn looking at our recent past and how other waves of technology have handled community. I don't think there's much difference, but now there's a layer of economy on top, which is very cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today for the aDrop.ai podcast live. Recording these with you guys is actually really fun. Something I've always ideated on, and you guys help make it a reality. Truly, we are building our community right now. We are a community that's centered around helping you take advantage of every opportunity that's out there in Web3. We're building a really powerful app that can help you do that. But that aside, we do want to talk about, airdrops, different chains, layer twos, Farcaster. There's so many different areas that you can explore, and it can be difficult to do that by yourself. And if you're somebody that wants to learn more, please join our community. We actually will be opening up our Discord and Telegram this week. I know it's funny. Rashid said that you should stay in one place, but I think we're going to be opening both up. Different people just have their different preferences. But that being said, you can also join our newsletter. If you go to the website aDrop.ai, you can join the live demo right now, the alpha version at demo.aDrop.ai. We want to hear feedback from you guys. There's so much that can be implemented on the app, different quests, different projects, different chains. I think we have something like 30 dApps planned to be integrated in the post beta launch already, and I think that that's on a relatively short time scale. There's so many things that we can do here in Web3 in order to gain. And for me personally, I've decided that airdrop hunting is 100% worth it. To me, it is the best way to expose myself to a lot of different opportunities without also risking a ton of capital. I've been in this space since 2017. I've traded, I've won a lot, and I have lost a lot as well. And I am like a little tired of that cycle, and realizing, the value potential in airdrops is absolutely tremendous. It was pointed out to me that there was like $4 billion dropped to users in 2023, 2024. I think 2023. And the same Masari Research, a renowned research provider, has projected $12 billion will be airdrops to users 2024 to 2025.
That's
And
insane.
so, yeah, it is insane. And I
Yeah.
want to be a part of that. Like, this is part
What
of
if
mass adoption. This is
what
part
if
of,
20
yeah,
what if 2025 actually turns out to be the hyper cycle we're all talking about? I think that 12 billion can go up if all of these hardcore protocols see that it works, and that's what gets people over the threshold, and then you'll see a lot more airdrops. But
absolutely.
you'll probably see airdrops all through the bear market afterwards also.
And the best way, and it's hard. I mean, the thing is, like, in order to qualify for an airdrop, you have to be early. You have to um, essentially use an ecosystem or a dApp in the early stages, and then they will provide you an airdrop almost as a gift of gratitude to truly onboard you and engraft you into their platform. And this requires knowing which ones to uh, interface with. This requires, there's a lot of steps. I myself have exposed myself to many more layer twos and chains since I started using aDrop than I ever did before. I've been kind of an ETH maxi. I've done a little bit on Sol, but aside from that, I've kind of stayed in one place. And so, having a place where I'm just going one click, one click, one click to swap, to bridge, to transfer, to lend, to redeem collateral. It's
Yep.
really incredible what we can do. Yeah, go ahead, NoCap.
Yeah, I was just thinking because there's so many airdrops that like we're aware of, like, and the thing that I always think is that like the best airdrops are things that we don't know. So like I feel like just exposing yourself to this many chains and this many transactions and kinds of transactions and things like that is only going to increase those chances of just catching shit like that. So like that's kind of what I'm like low key hyped on too, besides like the main stuff.
That's
True.
100% it. That's 100% it, brother. You know, there's so much development going on, and you know, the mass adoption is coming. The institutional money is here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the funds have been earmarked. Like these companies want to acquire, you know, your block space. They want to become like the next winner, and so there's a lot of competition going on right now, and that means as the early adopter, you can put yourself in a position to benefit greatly. And so that's what aDrop.ai is all about. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to our podcast, live Twitter recording. We'll be doing these every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you guys can all join us again next week. I will have another interesting topic, and we'll have another special guest. And yeah, it'll be a great time. So if anybody has any closing remarks, I'll open the floor, and then we're going to shut it down.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for everybody spending their time with us. I really appreciate it. It moves me. If you guys want to continue the good vibes, tomorrow we will be on Warpcast at I think 2 o'clock UK time, 3 o'clock Amsterdam Paris time. So join us there, Far House. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, 100%. We do like to keep it cutting edge. We are doing a regular space Thursdays on Far House. If you need an invite code, you can message the account here or Rashid personally. He'd love to give you a referral link. It's one of his favorite things to do. But yeah, Far House is a
Mm-hmm.
really awesome platform. It's just like Twitter Spaces, but it's used on the Warpcast platform. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on there. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, come check it out. Nice to be exposed again. Farcaster received 150 billion, or sorry, 150 million dollars
Quadrillion
in
dollars.
yeah, no, 150 million dollars in investment capital and was just valuated at 1 billion. So I think being exposed to that ecosystem and being on the cutting edge of that will pay off in some way in the future. So thank you, everybody, once again. We'll catch you later.
Bye, friends.